Welcome to episode 2, Why Can't I Switch Seats? So it's happened to all of us. You step on board the aircraft and decide you see a seat that you'd rather sit in. Logically, it makes sense if that seat's available that you should just be able to slide on over into it, right? Well, unfortunately, it's not the wisest choice. Let's talk about that. 3 primary reasons are safety, security, and of course, surcharge. Of those, safety being the most important. So for example, if you were to sit in an emergency exit row seat that you were not assigned to, that exit row comes with responsibilities, not just extra legroom. So you have to be willing and able to assist in the unlikely event of an emergency. And the flight attendant needs to brief you on those responsibilities and remind you to review the safety information card along with the placards on the door so that you know how to do so in the unlikely event that an emergency does occur. It also comes with an age requirement, so if you are not of age and you sit in that seat, again, it poses a safety issue for the entire aircraft, as well as yourself. So the second safety issue is weight and balance. I'm sure you've been on board the aircraft when a flight attendant has had to ask a passenger to either move forward or aft in an aircraft. That is due to weight and balance. Some of the factors that are included within that are luggage, passenger weight, specific aircraft weight, as well as the fuel. If you choose to sit in a seat that is not the seat you were originally assigned to, that may throw the numbers off in the weight and balance, and that could pose a safety issue. The captain has the manifest which shows how many passengers are in each zone. He's inputting that information in the flight deck, and if that is not accurate, it can definitely affect our ability to take off, land, and remain in the air safely. So a third issue is surcharge. So you may not realize this, but main cabin extra seats and emergency exit row seats do have a surcharge. It costs more to have more legroom in the emergency exit rows, and main cabin extra comes with its own perks. So make sure you're considering that when you are thinking about switching seats, and you understand if a flight attendant lets you know that they just can't accommodate you in that way, but perhaps in another empty seat. A third safety factor is special assistance passengers. So we have passengers who may be in need of wheelchairs, aisle chairs that come on board the aircraft, or they may have a special service animal, a special assist service animal, and because of that, they have special seating arrangements made. If you are in their seat, this would pose a danger to them, as well as a domino effect for other passengers as well. For example, the other day I had a passenger who was blind, and I had a couple who came up to her not knowing this. The passenger who was blind was already seated, and they were asking her if she'd be willing to switch seats so they could sit together. Thankfully, I was able to see this going on, and I was able to give that couple a nonverbal cue and let them know this was not the seating arrangement for them and I would find another spot for them. So I kind of just did one of these and they understood. Had that not happened, however, if I was preoccupied with another passenger or my other duties and they proceeded with that, it could have posed a danger for that passenger. So you want to remember that we don't always know everyone's situation or story that is seated on board our aircraft, and we want to consider that and understand that it could potentially pose a safety issue for an individual or the aircraft as a whole if we just decide to move seats. The key is making sure you communicate with your flight attendants. Security. So this is essential. If there's an empty seat and someone just chooses to sit in that seat that wasn't assigned to anyone, a flight attendant will be able to look at their seating chart and realize, someone wasn't assigned to the seat. Let me make sure everything is as it should be. So they'll of course approach that passenger and ask to see their boarding pass. If they can't produce one or their name is not on the manifest, they'll proceed from there in notifying the captain and gate agent and assist that passenger in getting to where they need to be. Oftentimes, this would be that a passenger was supposed to be on another flight, and this can happen easily when you're boarding outside, there's not a jet bridge, and it's sometimes easy to miss the signage and just kind of follow the crowd, not realizing, whoops, this was not the proper aircraft, and you could potentially miss your flight that way. So you want to make sure that you're paying close attention to the signage and make sure that you go to your assigned seat. Also, this helps to avoid any larger security issues where if a person were to pose a particular security threat, we would be able to quickly identify that if they're attempting to sit in a seat that they were not assigned. Ask a flight attendant. It's that simple. Just be kind, be patient, wait for boarding to complete, and then ask a flight attendant if you see an empty seat that's available, if you would be able to move to that seat. If they're able to accommodate you, I promise they will. So there are ways that you can be proactive. You can certainly reserve a seat at the time of booking your ticket. This is not a guarantee, but it will give you a better opportunity for having that seat. If when you get to the gate, your seat has been changed, just see if perhaps the gate agent can assist you with that. And then of course, your next step would be speaking to a flight attendant. So I hope this information has been helpful for you and that your next flight is enjoyable and you have a better understanding of how some of these things work on board the aircraft. Have fun flights and safe travels.